Tanpa membuang masa, saya mempersilakan yang berusaha Dr. Nordin Ramli dari MIMOS Berhad selaku moderator kita malam ini mengiringi yang berhormat Tuan Chang Lih Kang ke pentas bagi meneruskan sesi yang ketiga. Dipersilakan. Jadi Dr. Nordin, saya serahkan majlis untuk dikemudikan oleh doktor. Boleh? Dipersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang berhormat Tuan Chang Lih Kang, Menteri Sains, Teknologi dan Inovasi. Yang berbahagia Datuk Ruziah Syafiq, Timbalan Ketua Setiausaha Perancangan dan Pembudayaan Sains, Kementerian Sains, Teknologi dan Inovasi. Yang berbahagia Datuk Peter Ng, Pengasas dan Pengerusi Eksekutif Kumpulan UCSI. Yang berbahagia Profesor Emeritus Datuk Teknologis Insinyur Dr. Siti Hamisah Tafsir, Presiden dan Naib Chancellor University UCSI. Yang berbahagia Profesor Ulung Tan Sri Dr. Zakri Abdul Hamid, Pengarah Institut Antarabangsa Diplomasi Sains dan Kelestarian Universiti UCSI. Yang berusaha Profesor Ulung Dr. Pang Siu Moy, Timbalan Naib Chancellor Penyelidikan dan Pengajian Pasca Siswazah Universiti UCSI. Yang dihormati ahli-ahli majlis, pengurusan tertinggi Universiti UCSI, tetamu kehormat daripada Kementerian Sains, Teknologi dan Inovasi, ketua-ketua, para pegawai daripada kementerian, jabatan, agensi persekutuan, barisan pensyarah, pelajar-pelajar, rakan-rakan media, para pelayar media sosial serta tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang dihormati sekalian. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat malam. Izinkan saya berbicara dalam bahasa Inggeris. First of all, my name is Nordin Ramli. I'm currently Principal Researcher as well as Head of Technology Diplomacy of MIMOS Berhad. Actually, the word that we are having here is diplomacy. I think this is very much timely. It's talking about the changes or the geopolitics, that's happening throughout the world. Last week, I believe YB very busy with ASEAN Summit. We saw many leaders coming to Malaysia and everyone talking about concentrations on tariff, rare earth element, semiconductor, and AI, and similar topics. Thank you, both of you, YB and Mr. Ong, for sharing your insightful discussion on the why semiconductor is very important for our country. So it's very privileged to have both of you to share as a context setting for us to further discuss on why this is very important and how we can help our industry, our society, as well as our citizens to participate in this high-end industry. And we would like to see also, it's not just talking about the industry. We want people at the street also to enjoy whenever the economy grows, because we have the semiconductor industry that's excel and growing very high pace in Malaysia. So first of all, I would like to thank you, both of you, for sharing. YB Chang has explained on the why MOSTI is very important, regardless people behind the scene, right? So we are supporting Bomba basically and so on, but this is where very much noble job that's support Malaysia. And he presented on the chips carrier and country, the race for Malaysia advanced tech leadership on the context of semiconductor. And we see that AI, embedded system, automotive, EVs and so on are moving, and the centers of everything actually on the brain, which is the chips, not chip to eat, but chip to work as a brain, right? And Mr. Ong, yeah, you are among of the frontier in this IC design. I think YB also mentioned with regard to moving from back end to front end. It's very important to, because Malaysia has started by 8 samurai just now, multinational company, we have been very much enjoy the economic growth due to having the investment from this industry, and based on that one also, we saw a lot of local company that help the industry to grow. And I believe Mr. Ong also one of those who graduated from Intel, and he said his journey to come out with 10.6. I think both presentation from YB and Mr. Ong has provided a strong foundation for our panel today. The semiconductor industry is not just an economic driver. It is a strategic backbone of modern innovation for Malaysia. From AI to EV to next generation connectivity, we are talking about 5G to 6G and smart system. Semiconductor is the core brain to make this thing possible. I think for Malaysia, it's not just keeping as status quo, but we need to move forward, as been mentioned just now, moving from back end to front end. But I think I also come to the intention with regard, both of you talking about moving from mid by Malaysia to mid in Malaysia. So this is very much a statement that you have been mentioned. So perhaps we would like to discuss on this matter. So first of all, give a round of applause to our 2 panelists, YB and this one. So maybe YB, I may start with you. I think you have been the person behind the scene to promote, advocate, MOSTI agenda from when it comes to emerging techs and so on. As this one is a key technology to drive the Malaysian economy. So from E&E and semiconductor, powering innovations and so on. I would like to start with you. From your perspective, how can Malaysia further leverage this strength to enhance its position in global value chain? What are the key opportunities and challenges that need to be addressed to elevate the sector, especially with regard to the emerging tech?
Thank you, Dr. Nordin. Is this emerging tech or specifically on the semiconductor?
Yes, semiconductor, basically. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doctor and Mr. Ong. And it's a tough question. In fact, he didn't give me in advance. He should have. But to me, I think everyone knows the current geopolitical situation is full of uncertainties. Tariff is of course one, but now at least we see some certainties. But besides tariff, we also see if we are not going to move up the value chain, we are still business as usual in Malaysia. We're doing the lower end kind of work, say in semiconductor industry. We are going to be overtaken by our neighbors. Just very quickly, for instance, like Mr. Ong said, to move from one company to another company 3 to 6 months. And you think people are not better than us? You think people are not cheaper than us? I just give you an example. I just plug Vietnam can be a good option for doing the lower end OSAT. But that's why we need to be alert, and we need to develop things that we do not have. But the good thing is, well, the government already, we are aware about the situation, so we are trying hard to push. One is of course on IC design. In fact, if you are aware about this, last year we had our very first IC design park in Puchong, Selangor. So when we opened that, in less than 6 months, already fully occupied. So we plan to open another IC design park in Cyberjaya very soon, right? So it shows the demand is very high. It's just that are we doing enough to cope So I also mentioned about forming a consortium with the current industry players to work on advanced packaging. Currently we do not have any export on advanced packaging, but once we succeed in this advanced packaging development, we will be one of the very few countries that can export our service and also product in advanced packaging. So these are the things that we need to start. You know, the nature of MOSTI is you have to start early. You have to be ahead of time. You have to be ahead of other people. So always people ask, when you want this to be done? I will say yesterday. So we have to be ahead of time. So of course we know it's not easy. Very capex very heavy capex, but we need to do what we need to do. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, YB. I think building on that one, I would like to ask Mr. Ong. I think YB mentioned about we are focusing on from back end to front end, focusing on IC design and advanced packaging. Since Temasek has been set up from 2021, focusing on fabless IC design house. So in this niche area of IC design, from your opinion, why these are very crucial for Malaysia to excel in, especially in the era of AI, EVs, and so on, and how does we can focus on these niche, and therefore we are able to provide a competitive edge for Malaysia, enterprise, or even to grow a Malaysian economy to a better, greater height.
Thanks, Dr. Nordin. I think let me explain a little bit why. I think just now during my talk, I did cover a little bit of what Dr. Nordin's question is about, why IC design is very important. Maybe I will give another analogy, right? So I think just now YB during his talk also has mentioned about EV. Maybe I use this EV as an example, right? So imagine 10 years ago, the automotive industry in the world was actually dominated by European companies and Japanese companies in the whole world, entire world, right? All the top cars are done in Germany, of course Europe as well, and Japanese company only. But what do we see in the last few years as the emerging of the electronic EV, electric vehicle? We can see that countries like China now is actually overtaking some of the pies, right, in the automotive industry in the entire world. So what this tells us is actually because the technology shift from the traditional ICE right now to electric motor, and in the electric car, actually, mostly are electronic. The name is electric car. No longer have much, actually, mechanical stuff inside the car now. No more engine, right, per se. That's the most toughest technology in the past that why only European and Japanese are doing good job there, right, and other country is not doing so well, right, including even US in this sense, right. But in the EV era, because it's electronics, and China is pretty good as well. And what is more important down the road is actually, think about it ahead, is actually autonomous driving. And that's why Tesla is basically top 5 in terms of, or top 10 in terms of market capitalization in the world. Because they are selling you in future, actually all the car will be autonomous. You don't even need a car. Not everybody need a car. Because you can just demand the car as you need it, on demand. You don't need a car physically. So therefore, in the EV, as YB has mentioned, we have thousands of chips in the EV. So this is an analogy why semiconductor plays an important role in your life, in the future of your life, especially, right? In the ICE car, it's probably about hundreds of chips. Like for example, in the ICE car, let's say your power window, that's one chip there, right? Your power seat, that's one chip there. But in the EV, because we want you to have a better experience. That's why, for example, China EV are overtaking, or even Tesla is overtaking the traditional European and Japanese car maker. It's because they can add a lot of the comfort. You can even add a fridge in your car, right? A small fridge. So those are innovation, and by adding the fridge, you add more chips inside your content, right? And selling at the better price compared to the ICE car. So with a better price, better technology, and better user experience. If you have driven an EV, I own an EV, I drove a BMW EV, still a European one. But basically, the experience there, you may or likely not go back to ICE. So again, basically semiconductor is powering, right? Use this EV example, is powering the future. And I can talk about AI, but I think it's too late. I don't want to go to another example. Maybe the EV example will kind of answer Dr. Nordin's question.
Thank you, Mr. Ong. Well, I think we're talking a lot on the IC. I think from ICs to go to, EVs. In the EVs, as you said, thousands of ICs, and this is very much opportunity to a local enterprise to participate. And we foresee, based on the investment coming in year 1970s, what we saw actually a lot of local industry that's supporting this multinational company, and we are very happy to proudly to have you as a Temasek, one of the the company that brave enough to enter this competitive industry. I come back to YB. I think as the policy, I will open. Yeah, I will open. But this is before we open. All right. So I think one thing that we know the government is talking about national semiconductor strategy, and also with regard to National Industry Master Plan, and IMP, and this is a very much policy that is important to drive this, high-end industry. Could you share a little bit progress on this strategy, especially with regard to, recently announced budget by the Yang Mabrahman Prime Minister, that moving for next 5 years, we are more focusing on how to elevate the semiconductor industry, especially to look on R&D, design capabilities, and advanced packaging, and how this thing is going to be transformed Malaysia economy or landscape.
Thank you for the question, Dr. Nordin. In fact, I'm not going to go into specific projects, but generally, national semiconductor strategy is to prepare us for the future, because we know we will have a problem if we still do like business as usual, and then we just do what we are doing now. That's why we have this national semiconductor strategy, and of course there are a few things to do. One is to be mission oriented, to look at what we need to do, and then we will allocate our resources to that specific area. That is one. Secondly, also about funding. Of course, we know, if this industry is capex intensive, so if we rely entirely on the government, that one also cannot help. So we need to have some sort of like matching grant. On one hand, government will give policy support, tax incentive, tax exemption and whatnot. But at the same time, government will come up with a lump sum of a sum of money, and then industry will match the fund, so that it won't be too heavy for the government and also for the industry. So and people can see the government's commitment that this is national agenda, and everybody is going to have a skin in the game. So everybody will put in their share. So these are the things, and of course not only in advanced packaging, but also on IC design and whatnot. I think most important is also we need to train our talent, that by 2030, say if we have a lot of, why 2030? I just want to mention, because we have a very ambitious yet pragmatic target. We want to be high-tech nation, which is not only a technology user, but a technology producer by 2030. So we always say 2030. So 2030 is a milestone. And we hope by 2030 we will have enough talent to support the industry. So now we are talking about a lot of foreign investors coming in. But all foreign investors, they are telling us one problem. The problem is we do not have enough talent. So we need to train enough talent for them to cope the need of the industry, maybe 3 to 5 years to come. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, YB. I think on the last point you have mentioned pretty much very important. I think we know technology advanced so fast, but bring in industry to develop this industry, we really need the talents. Mr. Ong, before we open up to the questions to the audience, perhaps from your perspective, setting up the company from 2021, I think how do you make sure that, your company or the industry are able to maintain this high-end talent? How to make sure that the brain drain can be managed properly? So perhaps you can share a little bit some outlook and perhaps to offer some future outlook to the students, especially that this industry very much actually is something that promising.
Thank you, Dr. Nordin. I think talent is, like YB has mentioned, is always a challenge, right? Especially in our high value add industry, like IC design, right? Even advanced packaging and so on and so forth. So it's always a challenge. So I think the question is basically how do we actually retain the talent, right? And I think there are basically, from my view, there are actually two major perspectives. One, I will start with a purpose, right? So when we are actually doing the product that is actually able to compete in the world stage, you make Malaysian, you make yourself, you make your family, you make Malaysian proud. And you collectively put this technology that you can compete at the world stage. Actually, with that particular purpose, actually people really want to develop the product, right? Because in larger company, I've been in the large company for many years, actually, right? About 20 years before I did this. So in the large company, typically it's very specialized. So always is good. Now there's a lot of things to learn. I have no doubt about that, but it's very, very specialized. So you can only in one particular area. But in a smaller company, startup like us, you can experience the whole product development cycle. In fact, from the product definition stage starts, right? Of course, not every engineer will involve in the product definition stage, but you see the whole cycle because we are probably hundreds of people only, right? Instead of 10,000, 100,000 of people. So you actually see it. And with that, actually, with that nature of the working environment, one day, maybe one of our employees can become the boss by himself. Actually, I don't mind that, right? If they become their own and branch out to open their own shop, open their own design house in 5 to 10 years, right? I'm speaking in front of some of my team here. So it's fine, but that is the area that you have more opportunity if you are going through a startup down the road, 10 years or maybe not 1 or 2 years, right? So at least they work for longer first. Okay, so yeah. So that's the first area, the purpose. I think YB was asking what's the pay. So the second thing, obviously, the CNB has to be, the compensation and benefit has to be appropriate. I wouldn't say overpay or underpay, but appropriate. So for IC design, for example, in our industry, fresh graduate, undergrads, we're starting about 5,000 plus to 6,000 gross pay, right? So it's pretty good in Malaysia. And this number, I foresee, may still go higher and higher in the next few years. That's what I think, where the market and basically the demand and supply, right? I think my main concern is really, I want to raise to YB to help as well, of course, to MOE, I mean, Ministry of Education as well. I think we are seeing kind of the STEM intake of students probably in even high school is coming down and in universities as well. So that is a little bit alarming. But of course, we do pay better, so we can still get the top cream at this point of time. But when the whole industry is growing, we may have a problem down the road. But that one, I don't have a solution. But I think I'll pass to maybe YB to comment.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ong. I think, well, both of them have provided a very insightful point. I think before we open up the floor to the question, and now actually close to 10 p.m. already, and normally at this hour, we are normally moving to low power mode already. So perhaps, bear in mind for a few more minutes. So we would like to open up, for any one of you to ask questions to the, distinguished panelists, YB and also Mr. Ong. Please mention your name and what either your student or from what your background a little bit, and go straight to the question. Any questions? Okay, kindly raise okay, yeah, please.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nordin, moderator. I was about to ask more, but actually it's already 10 p.m. Then maybe Menteri also mentioned already some answer actually, but I want to know more. It's about the NSS policy, actually, in the National Semiconductor Strategy. So how can we ensure that SME and universities are having integrated, meaningful collaboration, some sort of that, to have the growth trajectory for the importance of semiconductor industry in Malaysia? So perhaps we can elaborate more about, just now you mentioned about the matching grant, something like that. Thank you, YB.
Can you straight to the question?
Okay, straight to the question. I think how can we ensure that Malaysia's SME and universities are in the meaningful integrated trajectories of the semiconductor industries, actually, in the semiconductor development in Malaysia. So it's about SME and universities. Thank you.
It's a question for me. Okay, yeah, okay. Thank you very much. I think your question is on how SME and university can work together. Okay, at the moment, I think mainly, of course, private sector work with universities, but private sector, usually they are from more established company. So for SME to work with university, I think maybe government have to give a certain incentive, because for SME to invest into R&D is always not easy choice, because for them to survive is more important than R&D. So I think if we could give some incentive for the SME, then maybe they could work together with universities. But the good news is, besides universities, there are also some other initiative. For instance, like MIMOS, we have this MIMOS Academy. And in this MIMOS Academy, we have a different level, I mean, they're still, maybe still in semiconductor field, IC design, packaging or what, but they are on diploma. So maybe it's not at the degree or postgrad, but diploma, something like TVET is micro-credential. So SME can work with agencies like MIMOS. In fact, not only MIMOS, there are also other TVET or institutions that SME can work with. But to work with university, I think government should also think of a way like how to incentivize. Thank you for the question. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Maybe I can add on a little bit to this question, Dr. Nordin and YB. So, like for example, I will give basically our example, how do we work with universities? So we actually work with like a couple of universities, for example, like UTM, USM, UTP, UTAR. So we actually, some of us are the like adjunct professor inside those universities, like UNIMAP as well. So we actually provide inputs to the syllabus. This is one way I think is quite important, by having basically industry provide some inputs to the faculty, right? So that they can actually improvise the syllabus. And in fact, not only like providing inputs, we actually providing some of the lab material, our development kits, so that the students can actually, during the university time, already learning about the latest technology, right? So we actually do provide some of the dev kit to some of the universities as well, that they incorporate into their lab. So we also like sponsor some of the final year project and so on. So we become the reviewer for the final year project or even master project. So it's quite a way, even though we are still small, like YB say, we don't have a lot of money to sponsor a lot of like big sponsor and so on, but we do more of the in-kind kind of support, right, to the universities. Because think about it, it's actually a symbiosis. It's also returning back to the industry, right? We are helping the universities. At the same time, we want to provide the latest and greatest information so that the students are interested and they learn more. If they learn more, they can contribute faster, sooner when they graduate and join the industries. So we try to basically contribute back, right, as part of the CSR, and also help the nation, help the universities, academia in Malaysia to really shape the IC design, E&E sectors. Of course, our industry is more focusing on the E&E computer engineering side, but not as overall like what YB has mentioned. But these some of the examples that I think what industry, even not big corporation yet, that can contribute. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ong. Yeah, next question, please.
I'm Professor Eric from UCSI University.
This question is for YB Tuan Chang. For YB Tuan Chang, when do we expect autonomous driving on Malaysia road? Will it be next year?
Tough question. There are different stages of autonomous driving. At the moment, I think, I don't see it next year, to be very frank. Because autonomous driving, not so much on the technology, but also on regulations. You see, a lot of other countries, their technology is very matured, but still only designated places they have autonomous vehicles. Why? Because of regulations. So a lot of problems are not solved yet. Questions are not solved yet. So say autonomous driving and it hit someone, who will be liable? Is it the car producer, or is it if it is caused by internet internet breach, so is it the internet provider fault? So there are a lot of questions we can't answer at the moment. So regulations wise, we couldn't solve that. So I think autonomous vehicle, the problem is still more on regulations than technology. Technology, I see there are a lot of examples that already working quite well. But now at the moment, still designated place. I give you an example. In Malaysia, there is one place we call the Technology Park Malaysia in Bukit Jalil. We have a 12-kilometer runway for autonomous vehicle testing. But to see autonomous vehicle on the road, I don't think so. It will be in next year or the year after. It still need to take another few more years at least.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, YB. I think, we need to be patient because it's not just about technology. Regulations and so on. Okay, thank you for the question. Can we allow for next question, please?
Okay, I'm Professor Eric and I'm from UCSI University. Okay, one very interesting thing I noticed is that mostly the conversation has shifted from startup companies to startup ecosystems, and this is a very positive trend because we have just too many startup companies already. Okay, and this reflects a bigger shift. That means we are no longer worshipping disruptors, we are no longer worshipping innovators, and we're starting to recognize that manufacturers, builders, and scaling is just as important as disrupting. So what has changed? Because this seems to be a very recent change. Suddenly that we are no longer talking about the next basically disruptor already, but we're talking about who can build, who has the capacity, who has the engineers. So what has changed globally?
Also a question for me, right? I think you all don't like me. That's why a lot of questions. Yeah, well, in fact, to be very frank, it's not a shift in policy because before this, maybe we give more emphasis on startup companies, but now we are talking about the entire ecosystem because there are a few problems in our startup ecosystem. First, we do not have enough deep tech startup. And secondly, we do not have enough, we have pre-seed and seed funding. We got quite good support. Then maybe after that, we go to Series A, B, C. But to go all the way up to IPO and also to become a unicorn, we do not have enough support, from the government. So we don't look at, now we don't look at like a company, tech startup becoming a unicorn. We don't see that as a only indicator, as a good No, we don't see that as a good indicator lah. I mean, for a startup to become a unicorn. Of course, we are happy to have unicorn. But now we are looking more at how to develop the entire ecosystem. So first of all, of course, we don't have enough money. We need VC, PE to come in. But at the beginning stage, we are looking at creating a pool, a bigger pool of startup at pre-seed and seed stage, so that when they advance into a higher level, higher stage, they can get good support from private angel investor or PE or VC. So I don't see it as a shift of policy, but maybe a different kind of emphasis, I would say. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, YB. Next question.
My name is Assistant Professor Victor from Faculty of Engineering. YB, good evening to everyone over there. My question here is, Asian nations are getting to attract advanced tech investments, yet Malaysia also chairs Asian in 2025 and promotes regional resilience. Should Malaysia prioritize becoming a regional design, IC design and R&D hub instead of competing with mass in manufacturing? And I have another question, YB.
So I answer this question first, right? I think maybe Mr. Ong can answer better than me, but I just give a very brief one. Well, I think of course we hope to be leading in the region, not only as a user, of course, but we hope we can excel in this what do you call that, R&D. And what's the question again?
Becoming
ASEAN,
regional design,
IC design,
R&D, yeah.
Yeah, well, definitely we want to be a regional leader in this IC design. We have been leader in this field, I mean, of course, lower end for quite some time. We hope we can still be leader in this IC design, I mean, more advanced stage. But the problem is this kind of, this industry is very capex intensive. So we can only be very selective, very prudent in selecting collaborators. And so that's the difficult part. I mean, basically it's money, dollar and cents.
Right. Maybe I add a few comments on your question on top of what YB has mentioned. I think obviously for Malaysia, I think fully agree with YB. I think we have a head start advantage, right? Because of just now YB mentioned the 50 years of E&E industry in Malaysia, and IC design we have started like 20 over years already also, right? So we actually head start compared to the peers in the ASEAN countries. But nevertheless, country like Vietnam actually is investing quite a bit in the last few years in IC design as well, because they also realize they are starting from OSAT. Hey, OSAT, then they go into IC design. They invested a lot. I just told one example to YB. In one of the city in Da Nang in Vietnam, they are actually giving minimum tax for the engineers for 3 years as a government incentive for people to do IC design. So I also told YB, if maybe that is a thing that Malaysia can do and that we can keep ahead, right? Because we are actually already better right now, but people are chasing after us. So we need to continue to develop. And obviously, like YB mentioned, the VC, the funding environment is actually a lot better compared to 5-10 years ago in this industry, but still not sufficient to really push the whole industry to really large scale, right? So we need more, both government, not 100% cannot be relying on government, obviously, and also private investment, VCs and PE fund. And now we are seeing more foreign VC and PE fund that are interested, that are coming into Malaysia, which I think is a very good sign. So we need to continue to develop the ecosystem, like I think YB mentioned, which is important, not only one company or 2 companies, but like our ecosystem, right? So then we have companies that can actually grow and filter through the stage, I think, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That was very well explained, YB and Mr. Ong. The next question is, Malaysia has secured over 63 billion Malaysian ringgit in investment under National Semiconductor Strategy, and probably we will be having more. With shift from basic assembly and testing towards IC design and advanced packaging, given this pivot, how will Malaysia transition from being a middle-tier manufacturing hub to one that capture high-value design and innovation roles? What the nation's tangible milestone? I heard from YB saying 2030 as well. The milestones and the barriers was the question in technology, IP core, and ecosystem maturity in this transition. Thank you.
To YB or Mr. Ong? Perhaps Mr. Ong.
It's open, yeah.
Okay. Maybe Mr. Ong try to reply. Yeah, can. So how to move, because we are moving from back end to front end. Yeah, so what is the government policy towards that one, and how? Yeah, okay.
Maybe I start first. It's just first of all, I think as I said, we have to be very meticulous and careful in choosing, because we do not have much resources. So we need to work with a few companies, industry players, and they also have to chip in money so that everybody have a skin in the game. And then by government endorsing and by government funding the project, it is a show of commitment. So that by showing this commitment, VC and PE from overseas, they will be also interested in investing into this initiative, which is to to move up the value chain from packaging to advanced packaging to IC design, etc. Well, I think this is we need a combination of everything. We can't only have Malaysia government and also a few industry player playing the game, because we also need funding from overseas. And then to me, technological wise, I think we have enough talent, and give us enough time, we can. We are very confident that we can make it. We can do advanced packaging. Just hopefully by 2030, yeah, we can be one of the exporters. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, IB. All right, I think perhaps to have one final question from student, or perhaps, you see a lot of lecturers ask questions. I would like to see student. Okay, let's just, okay.
Good evening, sir. I'm Durgashini, the Vice President of Student Council. My question to you is, are there scholarships, boot camps, or short courses supported by MOSTI for students who want hands-on experience in AI chips or robotics? Thank you.
Well, boot camp we don't have, but I think we have related activities or initiative initiated by MIMOS. We have a MIMOS Academy, and of course, I mean, we are more than happy to initiate something similar to what you have said. At the moment, we are still, working with industry and university. But I think if we want to do further training, which can match industry need, well, MIMOS must initiate something.
Sure, IB, we will take it.
Yeah, thank you for that. Very good suggestion. We will inform your university once we have that program. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Maybe perhaps the last questions. Yeah, battery also weak.
Well, maybe before we start, maybe I just want to add a little bit more. Besides semiconductor E&E, well, we have agencies like bioeconomy. We are also doing similar programs with undergraduates. But I forgot the name of the program. But basically, we are connecting students and company related to biotechnology to work together we call that BEST program, to work together, and then students will work in the company for a certain period of time, and after that, they will be given priority if they will be given priority if the students want to continue to work in that company after graduations. So these are a few things that our agencies are doing. But different agencies, they have different programs. So we can give maybe UCSI a list of that program. Thank you.
All right, thank you, YB. So maybe perhaps the final question, please.
Okay, so good evening, sir. My question for you is, first of all,
what is your name?
Okay, my name is Jawad Hassan Khan, and I'm a student of the computer science faculty here in UCSI. And my question is, considering like the development of the data centers in Johor, and then the chip design initiative in in Penang, how do you think Malaysia can transition from a middle tier manufacturing hub to like a higher role, in obtaining a higher role in both of these areas? And how can these two regions, that is the data centers and the chip design, complement each other to becoming a higher successful area?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, a brief one. I think we are on the way from a mid-tier manufacturing to higher value industry. Our Prime Minister has always said we want a high growth, high value industry. So we are heading towards that direction. And of course, the Johor data center, and there are also a few data center in Klang Valley, you see, and also the Penang one. I think it shows the government commitment in pushing this industry. We have been talking about prioritizing or pushing for AI to grow and develop in Malaysia in a big way. So in order to push and to develop AI, we need higher computing power. Therefore, we have so many data center coming in because we need them, storage, computing power, and whatnot. So at the same time, we also have Penang, a very strong foundation of semiconductor and E&E industry there. So now we are moving towards from lower end to higher end for this E&E semiconductor industry. So I think we are heading to the right direction. It's only that it might take time, but this is the best time for students who are interested in computer science, E&E, AI, and whatnot, to find your ways how to add value to yourself, let yourself, outshine your peers. So I think this is the best time. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'll add a little bit on what YB has mentioned. I think exactly right. Actually, we are seeing that for the data center, let's say in Johor and also the Klang Valley, right? So they need a lot of chips actually. So our company do actually have one solution that can go in as one of the chips that I mentioned earlier during my talk, right? The BMC chip. So this is an example of basically if the data center, if you have a localization policy, right, then we will actually lower some of the entry barrier to those high-end data center, then our chip can sell there, right? And of course, there are other companies' chip can sell there. And those will be a close collaboration between the IC design, just how you mentioned in your question, with the data center. And with so many data center in Malaysia, if Malaysia government, of course this is from the industry perspective, if government come up with a policy that have some localization incentive, right, that will help basically to help to the local IC design industry to really grow up bigger even. And this kind of policy localization is actually very common in other countries. I take for example, a big country like India, they have actually this policy. More than 50% you have to be local content in order to enter certain market segment that is basically quite closely governed by the government, put it that way, right? And also in China, it's the same thing. Even such a big country, they actually want local supply chain as much as possible. So all this is basically what we can do. But of course, Malaysia have a lot of FDI. We need to strike a balance in between. We can't push all the way like this big country. Because this big country have big population, they have big demand. They have slightly bigger say, to be very frank, compared to Malaysia. So I understand YB's difficult position in some sense, right? So you need to strike between, because we are a not super big population country, to be very frank, 30 plus period, right? But again, there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of synergy that we can do between the IC design plus the data center. And on top of that, YB has mentioned also, they are like box build company in Penang or even in Malaysia. Those companies also can be actually building the box, building the solution for the data center. Right? If we have this policy concerted effort to put the whole industry together, look at the holistic view, this could help to propel basically the E&E and semiconductor industry in Malaysia to the next height by having this basically data center in Malaysia. Because as you know, I think I'm from the industry, data center actually don't employ a lot of people. So we really need them to create other value for Malaysia, right? So that's basically from the industry view, obviously. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Hong. Perhaps, where is it? Let's see. Maybe because this is a rare opportunity, you know, can we make short and sweet questions to maybe YB and Mr. Ong?
Yeah, sorry. Just for last question. So, hi, I'm Vicky from UCSI University, a student. So, I want to ask actually, as a student, right, we are quite lack of opportunity to get in touch with the industrial. So I want to ask, maybe YB, is it there's any programs that's supported by government for the students, for example, a 2 years university study and 1 year's industrial program?
Yeah, very interesting.
Thank you. Very interesting. This is also what I wish to do, but of course we need cooperation from universities as well. We are, if we look at other countries, for instance, like China, they are doing that. In fact, they invite companies to station in the universities. So when their students at year 2, they start going, I mean, of course selected, I mean, they start doing some practical stuff in the university itself, but there's an office of the company. So this is something interesting, but of course we need to work together with higher education ministry, so that it is recognized, and then it is more, it's a nationwide thing. I mean, it's not like a piecemeal. At the moment, we have initiative, but it's piecemeal here and there with different universities, different initiative. But it's not like a policy lah. But we are looking into it, like how to create more of this initiative. But as I mentioned earlier just now, we still have a list of programs, maybe not long term but short term. We can pass it to the universities. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, YB.
Maybe I add a comment also. So I think YB has answered from basically the government program perspective, but I want to say from student perspective, right? If you are really eager to go to a particular industry, can be any industry, or of course, like for example, IC design, I have seen students actually at year 2, even though the university itself actually mandatory industrial training is, for example, at year 3, but there are people at year 2 who actually try to go and apply. And of course, you need to differentiate yourself, tell yourself why at year 2 you can do industrial training, right? So there are people who actually did that, and in our company, we did hire a very selected, obviously, year 2 student to do industrial training. So this is sometimes also not, maybe my view is basically don't 100% rely on a program by the government or by the universities. Sometimes if you have really the eagerness to do something different, you can try to apply. Of course, you need to do something different to tell the companies what is your differentiation, the strength that they need to get you to be in the industrial training program, for example. Just want to give one flavor of thoughts from your own initiative, right? And not even, sometimes may not be even going to the industrial training. You can work with your professors, your lecturers, right? To do some research program during your holiday time, right? Your longer holiday, you can do that as well. So there are a lot of things that can add value to yourself. Besides, of course, if there's a government program that's suitable, obviously you can join. So just try to trigger you to think other alternative as well.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's very much. Yeah, battery also weak lah. All right, I think we come to the end. I think before we end, perhaps YB and also Mr. Ong to give 1 minute, briefly to conclude this session.
Testing. Oh, sorry. Okay. One last piece of advice. As I said earlier, stay curious. You have to learn. It's a very long journey. I mean, learning journey is a very long journey. You have to do a lifelong learning. That is one. Then secondly, I think you need to think out of the box. Well, of course, you have good suggestion. We'll try to pick it up and we try to implement as a program or what. But as Mr. Ong just said, try to be creative and then try to think out of the box. In fact, you can send your resume to all the companies that you know. Just to send them, you say, I'm a year 2, year 1 student. I want to attach or do training in your company. In fact, you are doing them a favor. You know why? Because a lot of industry players, they told us, well, after graduation, these graduates, they do not meet the industry requirement. We need to train them for another year. So it's a waste of resources. So if you have the initiative, maybe the company you think, wow, you have initiative, you are good. So they will give you a chance to work or to train, to be trained in their company. I think out of the box and then stay curious. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, YB. Mr. Ong?
Yeah, yeah. From my view, I think maybe just a few words, basically. Yeah, sorry, I think looks like people want to leave. Okay, so maybe very simple. Perseverance and also be creative and think out of the box, similar to YB. Perseverance is very important. I think life is actually not about a sprint. It's a marathon, actually, in fact. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. A round of applause to both of them. So, I think thank you for both YB Chang and also Mr. Ong for the insightful discussion. I think it's inspired us to move forward and individually should ask questions how we can participate in this very much industry. We saw a question, actually about eager perseverance and so on. So let's give a round of applause to the panelists and everyone for having this session.